Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards, and I am coming at you live here on the 50,000 megawatt flamethrower. I like to call it 1039 WYAB. Good morning out there in radio land. We're streaming worldwide as well on the Mazda of Jackson, Mississippi live stream on this lovely Tuesday morning here in central Mississippi. We are up and running on all the platforms there. Facebook, YouTube. Well, let's do it like this. YouTube and X at SaveJXN. We are on Facebook, Twitch, and Rumble at Clay Edwards Show. And on Facebook, I think it's actually at The Clay Edwards Show. The only one I got the in front of. Don't know what I was thinking there. Anyway, good morning out there to everybody. We're powered by the free testosterone screenings over at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. You can check them out online at livebettermen.com. That's livebettermen.com. Or, of course, you can text my name or call 601-633-9017 and get hooked up with a free screening today. Man, this story just will not go away. Every day I think to myself, today's the day. We're gonna be moving on from this Nolan Wells story. And I got to looking. I don't think I've done a video about anything else since this story broke. It has just been a content machine because I guess it's just got all the makings of what the nation loves to think about when it comes to Mississippi. It's got race. It's got race. And it's got race. And it's got a dead black guy. You know, and I was thinking about this a lot last night. I watched and I highly encourage you guys doing the same, the United Cajun Navy host a podcast, I think called Shrimp and Boots. You can just find the United Cajun Navy on YouTube and watch their podcast. And one of the main guy that leads up a lot of the boots on ground part of the rescue and one of the other fellows were talking about this whole Nolan Wells thing, and they were a big part of the early search and rescue on this deal from like early on. And they really were emphasizing everything that they knew about this kid, and it really resonated with me that, and I was kind of proud of myself because I've stood my ground on this. Well, I have no problem going to a war with the race baiters and black for a living folks on all this stuff, even as parents, unfortunately. But, I mean, when they went and got Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, you know, you're on the other side of this thing. Because we ain't never going to be on the same side of an argument as Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. But every indication is that this kid is a great kid. I mean, I haven't heard anything bad about this kid. He was not a thug life, culture rot warrior. I mean, just by all accounts, a good kid. And I mean, I think I talked about this on the show the other day, but, you know, his mom, which I'm guessing this has got to be his stepdad. I don't know where his dad is at because he's Wells and they got a different last name. So I'm assuming that the real dad ain't in the picture or whatever. So, but the mom chooses to raise this kid in a good area, away from the culture rot. And then the minute that something happens to the kid, she blames that area and blames those people that she chose to raise her son around to keep him, to shield him from the culture rot. Like, those people were all good enough to raise your son around and to trust your son with for the first 18 years of his life. But the second that a tragedy happens, and look, I don't want to put myself in the shoes of a parent who's had to deal with that. I don't. I never want to have to experience that. No parent does. And I do. I mean, remove all the nonsense around it and the chaos it's causing. I do have sympathy for the mother losing her child, 100%, and nothing will change that. But I just have a hard time understanding why so soon into it that you're treating it like it's a conspiracy, like the sheriff's department and the FBI and all parties involved in investigating this thing, like there's some nefarious reason that they would hide any information, that they would be corrupt. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like it's 2026. Nobody wants to risk getting caught doing that kind of stuff, especially when the temperature in the room from a racial perspective is as hot as it is. Like, everybody knows better than to get involved in any nonsense like that. I mean, this is Jackson County. This isn't BFE, backwoods, anywhere random Mississippi, small town sheriff's department. This is one of the bigger sheriff's departments in a more metropolitan area in the state of Mississippi. I mean, yeah, the coast is laid back. It doesn't have like a big Jackson type thing down there. You got Gulfport. I mean, it's a big area. It's not the country down there. It's a very blended area. A lot of people from all walks of life. I've always said Mississippi's really like, at minimum, 3 different states. And the coast is its own thing. It's not like the rest of Mississippi. And I just don't mean visually either. I mean culturally, everything. It's a completely different area down there that legitimately could just be a whole nother state in and of itself. And I don't think anybody would argue that culturally, once you get south of Hattiesburg, it's just different down there. I don't know if it's more like Louisiana or what, but it ain't like Jackson. It ain't like central Mississippi, I promise. You know, so for them to, within 24 hours of this kid missing and within 12 hours of his body being discovered, to turn to Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and to pour gas on the racial fire, the conspiracy theories, all of that. It just seems so unnecessary. Then you're on Good Morning America and you're doing the whole New York liberal TV circuit with one of the dumbest people I've ever heard in my life speak, and that's Ben Crump. Now, we can argue about him being an idiot and him being rich. Those aren't necessarily independent of one another. Or they can be independent of one another, should I say. You can be an idiot and you can be rich. Believe it or not. He has played the race card as well as anybody. Like a fine-tuned instrument. He has played the race card. And so many stupid people have bought it. And I guess just, it's disappointing to me. Now, I don't look, everybody's situation is different. I don't look at what one person is doing and think that this other person over here should be punished for what this person is doing. Because that's what I feel angry about, that I think a lot of black people have done to Trump supporters over the years, is no matter what one does, apparently we all speak for, while also claiming that we do that same thing to them. And I know that I haven't. So I don't want to sit here and say that. Now I'll ask the questions. Me asking a question as a radio host is not me saying that this is how I feel. And I think a lot of you get confused with that. But I do think that it's high time that a lot of people do question their friendships with people from other races. Because can you afford to have something like this happen to you? Kim Wade talks about it a lot, about how a lot of these black families are using these deaths of children or brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever, as lottery tickets. And I heard Jason Whitlock. I'm convinced Jason Whitlock listens to WYAB every day and then borrows our show notes for his shows. And I love Jason Whitlock. And there's been plenty of times that I've done the same. But here lately, I think like we've been on the front end of this thing. And he kind of comes in the aftermath of it and has the exact same ideas and sayings that we come up with here between the Clay Edwards show and the Kim Wade show, at least. So they're treating it like a winning lottery ticket anytime LaPookie and him, or even a good kid like Nolan, end up dead while there were white people present, regardless of the circumstances. Whether if it's a little Dijon Tavius pointing a gun at a cop, or like last night in Jackson, shooting at a cop and getting shot. I don't know if you saw the news this morning. We do have an FAFO award recipient. Even though I have retired the championship, we can still give out, FAFO awards. Some idiot got one, shot at a Capitol policeman and got shot. Don't know if he's not dead, but he's hurt. It deserves to be. So whether it's that extreme, or if it's a situation like Nolan, where he had just been out on a boat with them and then they drown. And then there's got to be all of these crazy conspiracy theories. The pool party photo. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but it has since been confirmed. I never thought I would source RollingStone.com as the source here, but the other black kid that was on the island, that we were told there wasn't another black kid on the island, who's good friends with Nolan, confirmed two things. One, that video where nobody could see who it was, they just heard the audio of the guy saying, "Give me my dang phone back. Give me my phone back." That wasn't Nolan. That was this other kid who is friends with Nolan. Well, that kid also confirms Trestine, I think is it? Crestine, weird name. Definitely millennial mom name. But he also confirmed that pool party picture that Ben Crump floated out there like a high school kid, like a little high school girl starting some drama. Ben Crump floats this pool party pic out talking about, we don't know for sure, but rumor is that this photo was taken at 1 a.m. on July 5th. No, that's you creating a narrative that you want that photo to say. That's when you want that photo to have been taken. And if the photo had been taken then at 1 a.m. on July 5th, that would mean that Nolan made it back to land and that the white boys partied with him, showed him a great time, and then said, "Now's the time." Q-Dog stomped the black guy to death. And then we'll take him back out to Horn Island, and we'll make it look like he drowned, got beat up at sea wrestling a dolphin, and washed back up on the island. That'll be our master plan. That's got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, by the way. But that's the culture, making stuff up to fit a narrative. Well, the party wasn't on July 5th. It also wasn't at the person's house they claimed it was, which was one of the guys on the boat. It was at a whole nother house party on June 27th, a full week and a half prior to this. Completely debunks that narrative, blows it out the water. And now this reminds me so much of the Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens conspiracy theory rabbit hole and how everybody just wanted to believe so badly that the Jews were to blame for Charlie Kirk's death. The blacks so badly, they need it, apparently. They need this kid to have been killed by white folks so they can push an agenda and a narrative that they're somehow all oppressed and that there's white kids running around here hunting and killing black folks for sport. I don't know why y'all need that, why y'all want that, how that benefits you in your life any way whatsoever, except to continue avoiding accountability. And I get to somehow feel justified, to feel right about how you act. But it's tearing the state apart at the seams. Because now us who simply disagree with that, oh, you're racist. I mean, they're calling the Cajun Navy people racist. You know, I'm going to need a definitive list of what isn't racist anymore. I really am. Because really what it is y'all are the racist. That's really all it boils down to. The culture are the racist. It's not even arguable anymore. It's just factual. And the rest of us are tired of it. And it's high time that we stood up to it and start pushing back on it. I believe that this case here is going to be the line of demarcation in the state of Mississippi for us believing, listening to, entertaining, being sympathetic for anything to do with black folks from the culture when they make a single accusation about anything. I just think that between coming off the Cohen-Wiley deal with the mom holding the baby up as Operation Human Shield while they try to run over a cop, and the narrative they tried to spin out of that, to going into this ordeal, it's like the culture needs a win so bad that they're willing to burn it all to the ground to get it. And all they've really achieved is burning it all to the ground. Let's take a break. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. We had a guest scheduled for this morning, but we've had a little unforeseen circumstance. So your boy going to be flying solo, and we will get our guest rescheduled in here for maybe a one day this week or first of next week. We were going to talk a little testosterone, but we can always talk a little testosterone with or without Scott here with us. Scott had something come up this morning, but look, y'all get out there and see Scott at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness. Again, guys, take advantage of those free testosterone screenings. It will change your life forever. Nothing bad can come from it, to the best of my knowledge. If it can, I ain't seen it yet. 4 years in. Text Clay 601-613. 601-633-9017. I need to put it on a big billboard, teleprompter on the other side of my desk here. 601-633-9017. Hey, if you're out looking for a good quality pre-owned vehicle this week, looking to sell your vehicle, swing by, see the team at Ellis Autoplex right out there in Brandon, Mississippi, Highway 471. See Casey and the team, Nate, Jason, everybody over there. Let them get you taken care of. And boom, shakalaka, boom, be driving in a new to you pre-owned truck, car, SUV. They specialize in four-door trucks, four-wheel drives, F-150s, and the like. Always got something over there that's going to be right in your wheelhouse, I promise you. And especially if you're looking for something 100,000 miles or so that you can get a little, save a little money on. You ain't worried about the high miles. As much as these vehicles cost nowadays, they better all be able to go 1 million miles. You take care of them. I mean, I think my Raptor just turned 120,000 miles on it. Knock on wood. Hadn't had any issues from it, really. Good truck. Ford makes good stuff. Everybody makes good stuff now. They all got their known little issues, but if you take care of it, you should be able to avoid most of those. It gets you an extended service contract, not a warranty. Warranty is something you get free. But anyway, that's available on every vehicle over there. So check them out today. And look, I'm going to tell you what, I know this from working for Casey, is every vehicle is put through the ringer as far as looking for things that could be wrong with it, that could come back and bite them in the butt. They go above and beyond on what we call recon. It's reconditioning in the car business to make sure that the used vehicle they're selling you doesn't have any known problems. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't pull out and something break. It happens. But it's not because it was a known issue that they just hoped wouldn't break. So anyway, I just say you're buying a quality vehicle, but again, give folks grace. Stuff does happen. That's out of people's control. But that's why, a cool-headed phone call can usually take care of most of that. LSAutoplex.com. Don't forget, they buy cars. They'll cut you a check today from a local bank for fair market value for your vehicle. So you ain't got to deal with no crazy people on Facebook. Let's read some of your chats here on the Mazda Jackson live stream. Speaking of Ellis Autoplex, the phone number to text the show is the Ellis Autoplex text line is 769-241-1944. Let's see here. Looks like just a lot of good mornings. Let's see here. This person says, the culture has to be the victim. It's the only way their narrative works. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Raccoon Man says, nobody really listens to them anyway. Yeah and no, right? In theory, you're right. Nobody listens to them. But people are still scared about what they think or what they can do to them. It's the wildest thing to me. It's like you feel obligated to listen to these loudmouths bump their gums and lie. Because you just don't want to deal with the fallout, don't want to deal with being called racist, or whatever it is. We've allowed this to fester into them thinking they have some type of power and control over the rest of us anytime they get loud, or just because they said so. And I think what's happened is because for years and years and years, all they had to do was drop the R word. That's racist. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, man. I did not mean to be racist. I'm not a racist. I got black friends. I can't be racist. I like girls with big booties. Whatever you got to tell yourself. But you start working the mental hamster wheel trying to explain all the ways you're not racist because they said the word racist. Oh, no, that's the worst thing you can be. No, actually, racist is not the worst thing you can be. It's just not. I hate to break the news to everybody out there. Being a racist, that's not the worst thing you can be. Murderer, domestic abuser, pedo, no particular order here, by the way, drug addict, alcoholic, Democrat. Did I leave anything out? Thief, litterbug. What is worse than being racist? Text me on the Ellis Autoplex text line and tell me. 769-241-1944. Trans, Satan worshiper, lazy, gluttonous, fornicator, cheater, I can think of a million things that are worse than being racist. Yes, being racist is bad. But if you want to hate some people because of their color or their ethnicity, then by all means, hate me all you need to. I do not really care. I'm going to try to carve myself a life that your hate of me, it doesn't affect it. And that's what I've been trying to do for the last 5 or 6 years, is create a parallel economy here where all this cancel culture crap, because that's all, let's just be honest. Cancel culture and hate crimes exist for one reason and one reason only: to punish white straight people, particularly of the conservative brand, mindset, belief system. Somebody texts in and says being an atheist is worse than being a racist. Being anti-Semitic is worse than being racist. Oh, they don't like that one. Hold on. You know, they're at war with the blacks are at war with the Jews over who's the most oppressed. Like the true oppression Olympics are between the blacks and the Jews. They don't like hearing that somebody being anti-Semitic is worse than racist. They'll fight you over that. Then fighting words. All them boys in them purple shirts that be marching up and down the street. That's a slap in their face, because, you know, they're the real Jews, according to them. So, again, so they've tried to tell us that being a racist is the worst thing you can possibly be. It's the worst thing you can be called. It's the scarlet letter. Well, the tide has turned on that, is my point in saying all this. And people just, I'm not saying people don't still care and it does still carry some weight, and, you know, people still can't get fired from their job if you create a lie and try to tell them something's racist. Oh, they said this thing, and see, in this context, it's racist. It's funny seeing them finally discover context. You know what else? Per capita is racist too, by the way. Oh, they don't like that. Racism per capita. Math. Per capita doesn't exist in Common Core. They left out, there's no Common Core per capita. But my point is, finally, people are pushing back because, well, we know that is not actually racist. It's just you don't like what we're saying because it may require you harness some accountability. So it's like, deflect. Call them racist. I don't want to be accountable today. You know, I'll pull all this back to the Nolan Wells tragedy. His parents have decided to use his death as a lottery ticket. And GoFundMe is the Powerball for them. Before we go to our next break, why don't we just do a quick little look up here, and let's just see how much the GoFundMe is up to. You know, it was originally set up to pay for the funeral. And I originally said, you know, I ain't got a problem with it. People can donate as much as they want. It's on the front page of GoFundMe now, by the way. The original goal was $50,000. Well, they keep moving the goalpost because it's now, the goal is $750,000, and they've raised $667,000 with 13,300 plus donations. With Byron Allen, the owner of BET and some other stuff, the Weather Channel, leading the way with a $100,000 donation. At what point have you made enough blood money for your son's accidental drowning that you've used to destroy a community and to roll every white person you or your family have encountered throughout your lives under the bus by insinuating that they're all racist Klans members that posseed up to kill your son and then create a cover-up. At what point have you made enough where you can apologize and move out of Ocean Springs? Because I don't know how you stay there after you've done that to the entire community. I really don't. I don't know why you would want to stay there after doing that to your community. Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show. If you want to call in this morning, 601-879-0002. 601-879-0002. The Ellis Autoplex text line, 769-241-1944. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 1039 WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at McBee's Bar and Grill. They're getting ready to open up there at Lake Caroline. But go follow them on Facebook. I believe they're calling it McBee's Lakeside. It's got its own separate Facebook page. And follow the progress. Looks like they just got the parking lot repaved, restriped. It looks good. Looks good. I've seen some photos. They're doing some training in the kitchen. Already got food cooking. Michael and his team always do great work. So check that out. And, of course, in the meantime, just go check out McBee's right there. Lake Harbor Drive at Ridgewood. Lake Harbor Drive, McBee's Bar and Grill. The lunch special of the day, beef tips and rice. It's one of their favorites. Michael tells me it's the busiest day of the week. They serve more plates of beef tips and rice than anything else all week, at least as far as the blue plate specials are concerned. And, hey, if that's not your thing, try the club sandwich. Man, the club sandwich is the best one I've ever had. And, I mean, admittingly, I'm not a club sandwich connoisseur. I haven't had a whole lot of them. But I'm going to be honest with you. If I get in the mood for a club, I don't know that I'm going anywhere else and trying theirs when I can just simply go to McBee's and get theirs. You should do the same. Swing by today. Check it out. Be prepared to, if you do the club sandwich, be prepared to get some to go. Or be prepared to take a to-go bag home with you because you're going to have some leftovers or be miserably full all day. You do not yearn for more food when you get the club sandwich. It is massive, as with anything served at McBee's. Serving size is never an issue. You get plenty of food, especially with all their sandwiches, burgers, chicken sandwiches, and all that. They're huge. Buzzing her is since 1982, McBee's Bar and Grill. All right, we're going to bounce back and forth a little bit here from the text messages, the Ellis Autoplex text line to the Mazda Jackson live stream. Read some of your texts and stuff. Shout out to Lindsay Beckham. She had missed the first part of the show, but she sent me in the stuff about that pool party being debunked. Yeah, they used metadata to confirm when that photo was taken. It isn't just hearsay. It isn't just one person. There's 20-something people in that photo. We counted it yesterday here on the show. That was going to be really easy to confirm or debunk. I mean, and just the fact that Ben Crump and all these people, all these internet idiots that think they're journalists, wanted you all to think that this photo happened on July 5th. It's like it never crossed anybody's mind. Well, this should be real easy to confirm or not. There's 21 other people in the photo. That they would know if that was how their July 4th party ended. Because it happened at 1 a.m. July 5th was what they were alleging, which would have been after midnight on the 4th. I'm just doing the math here. I'm doing the math here for the Common Core folks that want to try to say, no, it's another night. No, it's the 4th of July night. They just rolled into the next morning. So, but yeah, all you were going to have to do is ask the other people there, what night was that? Whose house were y'all at? Oh, you all said the exact same thing. Well, I might not remember the exact night, but it was a couple of weeks ago. That's mostly going to be the answer because most people in their late teens, early 20s aren't going to remember the exact date off the top of their head, but they're going to know, no, that was before the 4th. Then, of course, the metadata. Like, I can pull up a picture on my phone. All of y'all can, too. I don't know about y'all's iPhones, but mine sends me, it turns my screensaver into old pictures all the time that I'd rather not see of me and exes for whatever reason. And I'll click on it, and it'll tell me the date from when that picture was taken. Or I'll look for an old picture, and it'll pop up, and I can find the exact date and time I took that picture. That's the metadata. It'll tell you where it was taken, when it was taken, all that stuff. I'm sure there's more information available inside there as well, but that's just what's there on the screen. It wasn't going to be hard to debunk that, but that was it. That was the smoking gun. That photo. That was going to be the one that proved all the conspiracies true. Which I find funny because that was never part of any of their conspiracies. And I know I've beat this up and y'all are tired of hearing me say it, but I just can't let it go. I can't let go of this no man left behind nonsense. This bro code. Maybe my friends and me were just all crappy friends. But we did not have this bro code of, all right, guy, you rode on the boat with me. I don't care how hot she is. I don't care what she's promised you. You're riding back to land with me. I'm CBing you, bro. CB, y'all know what I'm saying? I'm blocking you. I'm running some interference. We rode together, man. A deal's a deal. I ain't taking this boat back in without you. Gay. We ain't doing it. That was not the bro code that me and my bros had. The bro code was, hell yes, you're going to go back with her, and I will come get you from wherever you're at later. Because, when I was still living under the bro code, Uber didn't exist yet. So I couldn't just send them an Uber. You actually had to go get them from wherever. What kind of weird bro code is the culture celebrating here or sticking to? It honestly kind of answers a lot of questions that I think some of us have about thinking that the culture has a lot of the rainbow supremacy running through it. But I'm just saying. I ain't saying, but I'm just saying. That's what it sounds like to me. Why are you trying to block your boy? That ain't nothing bro about that. I just can't let that go, man. That's this whole no man left behind like they're at war or something. My boy got shot. Can't leave him behind. What are y'all talking about? Ridiculous. I just can't let it go. Somebody text here says, what was the picture supposed to prove? That he was alive after July 4th? Yes. That the picture was supposed to prove that he made it back to land, that they didn't leave him on the island, and that's why they had his phone, and that they would have allegedly had to have killed him and then taken him back out to sea. And that would explain the mysterious drowning, is that he had been murdered and planted there to look like he had been drowned. Just a grand conspiracy of foolishness. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Land the plane for hour one. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We got about 2-3 minutes here for our top of the hour break. I want to give a shout out, man, to one of our longtime listeners and just a buddy of mine in general. Heck, I grew up with his mama. James Westerfield, AK-47, a big FAFO supporter. He is going to be fighting his second fight for Bout Time Brawling coming up here at the Neshoba County Coliseum on Saturday, July 25th. He is going to be fighting the Badger JoJo Jones from Cleveland, Mississippi. James, and he's from Clinton, he won his first fight at Pearl when they had the fights there a couple months ago, last month, whenever it was, his debut fight. He's been going in, training every day since. He's a beast. He's a dog. We're pulling for him, man. So shout out to my boy, James Westerfield. We'll be pulling for you. We might be down there, might not be. Depends on how I feel that day. I don't make plans too far in advance anymore. Just however I feel that day when I wake up. But we'll be there with you in spirit either way. And we'll make sure you got a fresh, clean FAFO shirt to walk to the ring in. How about that? So y'all keep James in your prayers as he prepares for a big fight. These guys go at it in the Bout Time Brawling events. You got to go to one. All right, man, we got our top of the hour break. When we come back, more of the same. Boom goes La Dynamite. It is hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the RADIO. This is the Clay Edwards Show. 1039 WYAB, the 50,000 megawatt flamethrower, broadcasted live from Florida, Mississippi, all across the airwaves. As far north, south, east, and west as that 50,000 watts will go. And where that drops off, the Mazda Jackson live stream picks up. But it picks up everywhere. But you get the gist of the conversation here. Worldwide, baby. Worldwide. Mr. International, player with a passport. You can find the live stream in stunning 4K, if you so choose, to see my 48-year-old butt, gray hair and all, in stunning HD 4K. You're welcome to on Facebook and Rumble and Twitch by typing in Clay Edwards Show, and at X and YouTube by typing in Save JXN. And join in the conversation. Let's see here real quick. How about my friends over at Grills of Mississippi? I think I'm going to be going by there here in the next day or two, and I'm buying a new grill. I'm buying a new smoker. I've made my mind up. I'm getting that barrel smoker, that vertical barrel smoker, and I want to see what it's all about. It's basically like an air fryer that's a smoker. And what I mean by that is the cook times are dang near cut in half. From 13 hours to cook a brisket to, I think Jonathan said, 5 hours. Sign me up. Sign Clay up. Y'all need to swing by there, check out those things. They run around $1,400, I think. Well worth going to check out. They got financing options available there. Got a credit card, use that, whatever. Pay cash. I ain't trying to tell you how to spend your money. But hey, if that's not what you're interested in, they got traditional pellet smokers, pellet smokers, charcoal grills, gas grills, great pellets, all that stuff. And of course, they've got roughly 500 different rubs and marinades and salsas and all that stuff, and you get to try every single one before you buy them. And hey, you don't even want to do any of that? I'm talking to my ladies out here or my friends that live in apartments. You want some great barbecue, but you just, you live in apartments. Maybe you haven't used a smoker much. Hey, look, and I fall in this category, by the way. I like smoking food. I'm more of a griller than I am a smoker. And it's expensive to go buy a bunch of ribs and buy the rubs and do the prep and just all that. You just got to really enjoy doing that. And I just don't know how much I enjoy investing that much time into cooking something that I can also call up those same people a day ahead of time and be like, hey, let me get 4 slabs of them ribs. And they'll cook them for you with their world championship Memphis in May winning recipe. That's right. They do catering too, big or small. So reach out to them, grillsofms.com, grillsofms.com, or swing by and see Jonathan, Tracy, and the entire team today. Right there, Highway 51 in Ridgeland, right over by Trace Grill. And look, they've got some ready-to-eat meals there. They got their pulled pork, and it's broken down into 1 pound vacuum-sealed bags. Son, I'm going to tell you what, that is one thing I fancy myself in as being a good cook of, is smoking a good Boston butt. I don't know that I'm ever, you know what, I probably ain't going to buy a grill because everything that I want to smoke in that grill, they already have there available for me to run in, grab, and take home. They're costing themselves a grill sale right here, honestly, because theirs is so much better and it's already ready already. I go spend $13 for a pound of that amazing pulled pork, and like a pound goes a lot further than you may think. Why do I need to cook it? No, I'm kidding. I'm going to get one because I do love cooking chicken, like drunk chickens and whole smoked chickens. Man, I love a good chicken. And I hadn't had any in a while. So anyway, man, check them out. Grills of Mississippi, official barbecue supply store of the Clay Edwards Show. I was trying to find a different topic for us to hit, and here's what I've come up with. We're never going to quit talking about this Nolan Wells stuff. We're changing the name of the show to The Nolan Wells Show, brought to you by Clay Edwards. No, I'm kidding. There was a topic I wanted to get to yesterday, and we just ran out of time, so let's hit it now. How about that car show over the weekend in downtown Jackson? Your boy right here was the first person to bring it to people's attention that all hell had broke loose in downtown Jackson on Saturday. And that I can thank a couple of my friends for that like to peruse Instagram and black Instagram and black TikTok and kind of see what's going on in the area. And they send me a lot of stuff. But I also knew this because I had been down there myself Saturday. One of my favorite pastimes is riding around Jackson on the weekends, looking for people doing dumb stuff for me to take pictures of, put on the internet, and make y'all mad. I love doing that. Remember the picture of the black vagrant I put on there? The black woman bumming for change? Remember how mad that made everybody? That was on one of my Sunday drives. I just popped the picture. I was like, well, that's only in Jackson. You won't see that in Rankin County. That's all I said, was only in Jackson. Man, y'all tried to kill me over that one. I raised that woman a bunch of money. You're welcome. I reconnected her with her kids and everything. You're welcome. Well, I didn't get a single thank you. I'm pretty sure they called me a racist. I'm over here raising money for, bringing so much attention to this woman. Y'all know y'all wouldn't have gone and donated a penny to that woman if it had been for the Clay. Bringing attention to it. I'll tell you, my method, while frowned upon, works. You shame people into getting right. You do. And it works. You shine. Bleach is the best disinfectant. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. We shine a little light on it, and boom. Got her paid, got her reconnected with her family, who didn't really want nothing to do with her, apparently. But, that's not my responsibility. I can lead the horse to water. I can't make it drink. So anyway, they're having this capital city car show. They got a permit to close the streets and all that stuff up by the old Capitol, where Capitol Street dead ends into State Street, right there where it tees. They had a car show, which I love that stuff. I mean, y'all know me. I'm a car guy. I am not a hater. I'm not the fun police, I promise. I like to have a good time. I like to do some outlaw stuff. But there's a time and a place for it. They turned downtown Jackson into like a burnout pit. They looked like one of these street takeovers that they do in these big cities where all the teams meet up in their Dodge Chargers, stolen Kias, and Nissan Altimas, and they do the donuts with the people hanging out, practicing their drive-by shootings. I'm telling you, drive-by shooting at this rate is going to be an Olympic sport in the next few years. They'll probably replace ice skating with drive-by shooting. I'm serious. So they got done all these donuts, and I played some of it. I'm not going to do it again. You can go find the videos on my Facebook page or my Instagram at SaveJXN on Instagram and X, and on YouTube at SaveJXN, on Facebook at Clay Edwards Show. I got it all up there. I did a long video. It showed every video I could find. Sunday. Well, Bo Luckey, Capitol Police, reached out to me Sunday, said, look, we're investigating this. We're kind of trying to see where this all went wrong. He goes, I got the word that they're down there doing donuts. I sent all systems go, flex units, everything down there to shut it down. There was a video that's got a Capitol Police guy that appeared to just be sitting there allowing it to happen. You know, Bo said straight up, we're going to get to the bottom of that. We're going to figure out who that was, why he was just sitting there and chose not to pursue that vehicle. And he had a theory of why. I'll be the first one to call BS when I think somebody's telling me some BS. And I did not get that vibe from Bo when he was telling me this. He said, what I hope happened was I had just put out the call for all units, flex, everybody to head down there, shut it down, clear the streets. What I'm hoping happened with the video of the unit sitting there when the car did the burnout right by him and almost ran over a kid, at least that's what Clay Edwards saw, is that he made a decision that it would have been put more people in danger for him to have spun around and pursued the guy when we had everybody else on the way down there already, not to leave the scene, not to leave the area without any police presence. And if that's the case, I can live with that. But y'all tell me I don't ever call out Capitol Police and I just glaze Capitol Police all the time. I called them out to the point of getting a Sunday, I wouldn't say a lashing, but I got a lengthy Sunday text from the boss man about what I had to say. So don't say that I don't call out Capitol Police when I see some foolishness from them too. You know, but that's the difference though. I got a lot of respect for Bo Luckey personally and professionally. You know, here it is on a Sunday, the chief of Capitol Police, one of the highest ranking police officers in the state, texting Clay Edwards to explain what he saw in my video. He probably would have never saw that if it had just been left on the Culture's Instagram. But because I saw it and brought attention to this whole thing, here I am getting, you know, I wouldn't say getting my butt chewed, but I was definitely getting an earful from Bo about it. And I respected that, you know, because it lets me know that he cares. He cares about what's going on down there. He cares about the perception. Like nothing gets by him. Not even a little video of a burnout with one of his guys sitting there. So much respect to Bo Luckey for that. And following up, you know, I sent the videos over to Kingfish. I'm like, hey, have you seen what downtown Jackson has devolved into? I sent him all that. Now, he's done a good job following up on it. And I found this video we are going to play here. Now, I can't play the audio because I don't know what in the heck the audio says. I'm sure it's some foul language or some rap music or something, so we're not going to play any audio. But we're going to walk you kind of through it here. So if you're looking on the Mazda Jackson live stream, what you'll see over here on the left side of the screen or on the top of the screen, depending on which format you're looking at, is a trunk full of guns. And it's got the caption, because they're mad at me right now. The Culture is mad at Clay for exposing what happened down there. They thought they were just going to go do all their burnouts and figure eights and donuts and all the chaos, and we was just not going to say nothing. Well, ain't nobody get shot and killed. We ain't kill nobody. Why y'all worried about it? Ain't nobody allowed to have fun around here, so there ain't nothing to do around here. That's why these kids do all this robbing and stealing, because we ain't allowed to do burnouts and drag race and do all this other stuff. Well, I mean, teach them to read a book. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so it's got the caption that says, this what they won't, and of course they never spell won't right. They always spell it want. This what they want tell you, the things, I can hardly read it because it's in white. The things that we could control, we did. We searched every car. So what it is, I can't read the crap. They took all their guns that they could when they searched the cars that were entered into the car show, and they made them give them their gun and a driver's license. And there's way more guns than there are driver's licenses in this video, by the way. But I got it playing here. You know, they say there's probably about one driver's license to every 4 guns. Because one thing I know about the culture after owning a nightclub that catered to the culture for 10 years, IDs are not the biggest thing in the culture. Apparently, it's more difficult for them to get IDs or driver's licenses or something. According to Democrats, IDs are racist. It's because they have warrants. Just let me let the cat out of the bag here. The culture doesn't ever have their driver's license on them because they have warrants. There's their dirty little secret. That's why I'm not allowed to the barbecue anymore, because I just told y'all why they don't actually have driver's licenses and IDs on them. It's because a large portion, I can't talk today. I can't say driver's license right, and I can't say portion right. A large portion of the culture has warrants. So they don't want any identifiable markings such as a driver's license on them. They usually have somebody else's stuff memorized so they can spat it off if they need to. And that's why so often they run when they get in trouble. So anyway, Kingfish found this video. Kudos to Kingfish there. Then there's also a video of them back down there pressure washing the streets on Sunday. Or maybe it was late Saturday. I don't know. We got this here. Here's the guy pressure washing. Now, I did share this video, and I said, hey, call a spade a spade. At least they're down there cleaning up after themselves. Look, I can't be negative and not at least acknowledge that they were down there pressure washing and cleaning that up. Now, whether they cleaned up every inch of that, I don't know. I got my doubts. You know, somebody said in Kingfish's comments that they were fixing to repave all that anyway. So it really isn't that big of a deal, but it is. You know, what it is it is just the further demise of Western civilization. When you just allow this kind of stuff to go on and it's acceptable, because there are a lot of people in his comments and mine with the statement of, it wasn't a problem when the white boomers did it. It wasn't a problem when the white people did it. Brother, I've been going to car shows, meetups, cruise-ins, whatever you want to call it, since I was 15 years old, if not younger, and I'm 48 now. And we ain't never once been allowed to have a car show devolve into absolute chaos in the middle of the street like that. We can't even have cars and coffee events anymore because a few a-holes do burnouts when they leave. So yeah, it's always been a problem when the white folks do it too. Y'all just don't think it's supposed to be a problem when you're doing anything other than robbing, stealing, killing, drug dealing, littering. Like you're supposed to get some kind of trophy for not doing the worst possible things in society. Oh, and being a racist. Forgot that that's like number 1 to y'all. That's the worst thing. So, no, you don't get a cookie and you're not allowed to do whatever just because you weren't doing something worse. John Horn has released a statement, the mayor. I just love knowing that something that I caused has led, something that I exposed has led to the mayor having to make a statement. And shout out to Kingfish because he took it and ran with it and forced a statement from the mayor. I'm guessing Kingfish did. I mean, I hadn't seen WLBT or anybody else talk about this, so if I'm wrong there, I apologize. I'm a credit Kingfish. I can be corrected if I need to be. But Jackson Mayor John Horn issued a statement that says, quote, "The reckless behavior displayed by some attendees during this weekend's car show in downtown Jackson was egregious." The culture's Googling egregious right now. "Dangerous and completely unacceptable. The decision by certain individuals to perform donuts in the middle of the street in close proximity to spectators, other motorists, and adjacent businesses placed lives at risk." Now, I was called a racist when I said that. As mayor, my first responsibility is to protect the people of Jackson and safeguard our neighborhoods, business districts, and public spaces. While we welcome events that showcase our city, we will not tolerate conduct that endangers others. Effective immediately, the city of Jackson is undertaking a thorough review of the car show to gain a clearer understanding of what occurred, to work closely with law enforcement and event organizers, and to ensure the appropriate safeguards are in place moving forward. We are grateful that no one was seriously injured, and we are taking the necessary steps to prevent this type of reckless activity from happening again. Let's take a break real quick. We'll let that marinate for a second, come back and see what all you guys got to say about it. Phone line, 601-879-0002. Ellis Autoplex text line, 769-241-1944. Or, of course, you can drop your comment there in the Mazda Jackson live stream. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. So, I was just looking here. We are not streaming on Facebook. I don't know what it is. When I try to stream to my personal page, it just streams as private. Apparently, I'm the only one that can see it. So, if you got to pick between one, I'd say watch us on YouTube. That's really the path of least resistance is YouTube, and that can be found at SaveJXN. X is also available, pretty consistent, easy to use, and Rumble. But YouTube is the one that I would prefer you all watching on. If I had to pick, YouTube is the best one. That's the one I would like to build up. It's the one whose numbers mean the most. So preferably YouTube. And I will litter Facebook with all the clips and reels of the show throughout the day. If you follow me, you know that you're not going to miss any of that. If you're on Facebook, I also upload every single reel to YouTube and X and TikTok for the most part to my backup account, my Clay Edwards Show account, not my main one. So you can find this stuff all day, every day. It's my job. It's what I do, is put stuff on the internet. Well, it's part of my job, that and sell radio ads. So speaking of selling radio ads, how about my friends? Man, these guys have been supporters for a long time, and I just like to make sure I mention them, especially when we have storms that have come through like this. And that's Watkins Construction and Roofing. Just rock solid guys over there, locally owned, locally operated. I just love having them as a part of the show. When you have a company like Watkins in your portfolio, it makes going in and selling the show to other companies a whole lot easier. When oh man, Watkins trust you? Yes, sir. Where do I sign? So it's always been appreciated that Michael and his team have allowed me to promote their business for as long as they have. So I just want to say, A, thank you to them, and B, call them if you need any roof work done. They are going to come out. They're going to do a complimentary estimate, see what's done, see what needs to be done, They're not one of these fly-by-night roofing companies. Y'all know how I feel about them. They're not going and parking on your street and going door to door trying to sell you a roof. You're going to reach out to them through all their marketing when you need roof work done. Now, that there are times where they may come and try to work with folks. Like, say, for example, a neighborhood gets hit really hard by a storm and there's like a tornado type deal where there's lots of visible damage. They may try to come out and help you out there. But that's a different scenario, in my opinion. That's like coming to you when you're in need, not coming and trying to sell you something. But they're not going to try to sell you a whole roof when all you need is a section fixed. Unless you want to buy a whole roof, But they're not going to try to force you into it. Like, no, you need a whole roof. They're not doing that. They're going to work with your insurance company or you the whole step of the way, every step of the way, get you taken care of. They're going to come out. They're going to be professional, respectful. They're going to tear up your landscaping. They're going to clean up behind themselves. They have all the newest equipment to make sure that happens. Your landscaping's not going to get messed up. They ain't going to be playing any bumpity, bump, nasty rap music while they're out there. They're going to be professional. I know I keep saying it, but dang it, I mean it. Good folks, WatkinsConstructionInc.com. Or just Google Watkins Construction and go read some of the nearly 1,000 five-star reviews they got and let their customers do the talking for them. So let's read some of your comments here, and then I want to shift gears because I got a video that I want to play. Tell you what, I don't see any comments that are okay. Finally, here's one. They get to talking so much in the live stream section to each other that it's hard to kind of pull up the comments and read them on air. But this person says, looks like not one of the cars was Mississippi that did burnouts, so they pay taxes. They pay no taxes on these streets. Yeah, most of those were all out of towners, kind of famous cars, and that's just the ones that we saw. I'm sure there were other burnouts that were taking place, especially as people were leaving. That's like a thing to do when you leave a car show is do a burnout. Especially if they drive a Mustang or a Camaro, they always wreck. There's all these videos of Mustang and Camaro drivers leaving car shows and wrecking, doing burnouts. And it's never like the cool ones either. It's just like the stock Mustangs and stock Camaros. And I'm sure that Challengers and Chargers have their fair share of being wrapped around sidewalks and light poles leaving car shows too. Pedestrians beware. Let's see here. Little Nikki says, Kingfish needs to up his font. My eyes cannot read those tiny letters on his page. I know. I have to quadruple the screen size every time I read his page. I'm just kind of strolling through these comments here to see if there's anything that needs to be highlighted. Rebel Ray said something here. Now, those are like 26, 28-inch tires, wheels or whatever, like the most expensive wheels and tires you can buy on these cars. And them doing them burnouts on those tires are like $800-900 a piece, $1,000 a piece on some of those cars. And just blowing them off. I mean, look, you got money. I ain't telling you how to spend your money. I'm just saying, I guess I wish I had it like that. I wish I had it like that. Let's hit up the Ellis Autoplex text line real quick. Get caught up there. Give me 2 seconds. Get it pulled up here. All right. Unknown texter says, I think these people need to look up definition of a car show. It does not involve raising hell. That is so true. That is so accurate. It does not. And again, man, I don't want to be the fun police, but there's just, at some point, you got to play by the same rules everybody else is playing by. Like, does downtown Jackson, I mean, right in front of the museum, the old Capitol Museum, the War Memorial, all those businesses right there, is all the burnout marks really necessary? I mean, there's not a business in that general vicinity that I would say caters, except maybe a bar or two, that caters to the crowd that's down there for that. It just seems like a weird spot to even be having that car show. Why wouldn't you do that over on the west side? I mean, you're going to have a bunch of donks, just ghetto culture car show. 'Cause that's what it was. Make no mistake about it. It was a ghetto culture car show. It is what it is. Donks, rap culture, hip-hop culture, all that. You know, is that really what downtown is about? I get, downtown's a melting pot. It should be something for everybody, and that's fine. But that's an extreme. That should have been over in South Jackson somewhere. You couldn't find a community center to do that at. What about the old Sam's Club parking lot? Reverend Crudup. Get the kids something to do, Reverend. They can even go play a little basketball when they get done. Burnouts and basketball. So I just gave you $1 million idea. Basketball and burnouts. All there on your big, massive parking lot. Do it for the community, Reverend. Do it for the community. Gator says on the Ellis Autoplex text line, it's a little off topic, but we'll hit it. Because we're going to circle back after this break. I'm going to play a video that just blows my mind. And it made me think of the phrase, not Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter. It's just mind-bogglingly ignorant. But Gator says, in my opinion, Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, and Colin Kaepernick, by the way, Colin Kaepernick has inserted himself into this. I think him and Tyler Perry and somebody else are paying for the funeral for the kid, Nolan Wells. Parents raised almost $750,000 for the funeral already. And now they're saying they're paying for the funeral. So if you donated money for the funeral, you may want to get your money back because celebrities are paying for it. Let's see. He says, in my opinion, Crump, Sharpton, Kaepernick only are trying to divide us more as a country and race. They stir up a pot before it's even on, and it makes my blood boil. I wish they all would go to a country they like instead of staying here and dividing us on nonsense, BS, before all the facts are out. Angers me. They even are allowed to make accusations to stir up race pot before pot is on. I'm sure it will never happen, but I think Crump for sure and family of Nolans should come out publicly and apologize to the white kids, the families, and the whole town for jumping the gun once they find out the truth. Accidental drowning is what it is. Suck it up, Crump, and take another L and get out of our state and go stir the pot elsewhere if you must have to stir it daily. You know, here's what this has done, and we got to take a break. What this has done, this whole alternate investigation and this whole narrative spinning, what it's done is it's created doubt. And now, like I've been saying since day one, when I came back to work on that Tuesday from the 4th of July weekend because I took Monday off. When I came back to work Tuesday, what this has done is no matter what the official investigation shows happened, if it don't show death by racism on that death certificate, they're never going to believe it. Just like up in Senatobia. If the investigation doesn't show that there was a standoff in the Walmart parking lot, the car was parked here, the cop was here, and the cop said, "Don't move or I'll shoot." And then the lady raises up a baby before the car ever started moving. And then the cops started shooting before the car ever started moving with intent of killing a baby. If that's not what the investigation shows, and we know that's not going to be what it shows, no matter what they see, they've already determined that that's what happened, that a racist cop showed up to work in Senatobia that day determined to kill a black baby. Because that's what they want to believe. Like I said yesterday, they have a oppression fetish. They have a racism fetish. Just like white women who all want to become victims in their own true crime documentary. They all think everybody wants to kidnap them, rape them, and murder them. So they can one day be martyrized in a Netflix documentary. I'm convinced that black folks all want to be some version of that involving racism and oppression. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Real quick, the segment brought to you by our friends over at H&H Chief Sales. You need equipment that works as hard as you do? Come see Noah Sullivan at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. Thousands of you have already made the short drive to see H&H for the state's best deals on CM truck beds, Big Tex trailers, Wells Fargo enclosed trailers, and even rugged Candy electric utility vehicles. Those are those big, nice-looking golf carts that you see that people got fit 4, 6 people on, 8 people on. The really big ones, the cool ones you see running around in like downtown Ocean Springs and these golf cart communities and stuff that allow them. That's what these Candy electric vehicles are. Really cool. Now, they got some that are for farm and stuff, too. They got the utility beds and all on it, not just pleasure carts as well. But they got all that. And, of course, at H&H, their equipment is built for the farm, the job site, hunting camp, or anywhere around your property. H&H Chief Sales has a big selection and hometown service with deals that are worth the trip. So visit Noah Sullivan at H&H Chief Sales on Highway 35 in Carthage or online anytime at hhchiefsales.com. Check out those electric golf carts, man. They service them there. So that's been one of the biggest problems with some of these electric golf carts you see at like the big box stores and hardware stores and stuff, is they're just Japanese crap. And not these. These are, I think, made in America, as well as they are a certified service department for them. So you can actually get parts and get them worked on. You know, these people will buy these little cheap electric four-wheelers and stuff, or gas four-wheelers, and pretty much something breaks, you just got to throw it away because it's useless. You ain't got to have to worry about that with them Candy carts. All right, we got to play this video here, and then we're got to land the plane for the day real quick. Let me get it pulled up here. This was a crazy black woman on Newsmax refusing to accept that Nolan wasn't killed by racist.
Obviously, we need the autopsy report, that there are real questions about witness accounts. All of that, I think, is fair game. But let's be precise, because a kid is dead here. What's the actual evidence? Not a feeling, not a vibe. What is the evidence that anyone has produced that shows race had anything to do with this?
Well, we can talk about the evidence of what's been going on in America the last 400 years.
Talk about this case. Talk about this case.
I'm talking about it, but I'm going to talk about it the way I want to talk about it. Now, if you've asked me to come on to be your guest, and I'm going to talk about it the way I want to talk about it, sir. Now, you asked me a question based on what does race have to do with it. We can talk about Fannie Hamer and what she's talked about in Mississippi being a place of oppression. But as we talk about this case and what's important, if you do not want people to speculate, then investigate. The family, I'm not talking about those online, but the family has that questions be answered. And I would like to ask you, do you have a child?
I do not have a child.
Okay, well, I do. I have a 19-year-old daughter. I also had a cousin who was murdered, who was also a football star, who was murdered at 19.
And I guarantee he was murdered by somebody black, or we would already know about it.
And it took us about a month to find his body. So maybe there's not empathy there from you, sir. I'm not sure.
This has nothing to do with a lack of empathy. You're calling for an investigation. Everyone is there anyone who's saying that there shouldn't be an investigation?
It actually does, because you're jumping to race when the family.
I'm not jumping to race. I didn't hire Ben Crump. I didn't get Reverend Al Sharpton there.
She started race talking about what's been going on in America for 400 years.
Right. Well, the family is actually asking for questions to be answered. The family is actually wanting to know, why did his friends have his keys? The family's actually wanting to know, why did they have his phone? Why did he leave? Why did he say he wanted to stay on the island by himself? These are all justifiable questions.
Agreed.
And I would have
Wasn't staying by himself. He was staying with a girl.
And maybe if you were a parent, maybe you could empathize with wanting to know exactly.
You keep accusing someone of not showing empathy when I'm simply saying, have you seen even any evidence that suggests the police aren't doing an investigation? I get that there is questions to be answered, right? I mean, that's what they're doing.
There hasn't been an investigation. And just a moment ago,
there hasn't been an investigation?
Just a moment ago, it has not been a thorough investigation. And just a moment ago, when Mr. Thrasher was on, and he made the point to say that he went in the water and never came back, you didn't question him one time, sir, and ask
he's not
him,
part of the investigation.
But you didn't question him one time and ask him, how does he know that he went in the water? So there's a lot of misconception. That's the whole point in having an investigation. And what Attorney Crump is
we are having an investigation, though, correct?
And that's exactly it. And an independent investigation. An independent investigation in addition to what Mississippi has done or not done. And why would you or anybody else have an issue with a family wanting to have an independent investigation?
All right, we're going to stop it there. I'm going to tell y'all, I think the ability to have realistic, honest conversations with black folks about racial situations in Mississippi died with Nolan Wells. I'm dead serious. I just, any iota of respect that I had left, or not even respect, ability that I had left to engage with, to entertain, to find sympathy, empathy for concerning these situations, to maybe create a shadow of a doubt and possibly believe that maybe a racially motivated crime happened. The coffin was blowtorched shut with this Nolan Wells case. The culture, black for a living, free the land idiots do not negotiate in good faith. There's no way they believe this shit, for one thing. There's no way. They are 100% grifting, and they're ruining people's lives in the process. And we're all supposed to just sit back and go along with it. Nothing has to make any sense anymore. It's just all feelings over facts. We're just supposed to say, okay, sure, racism. I'm not doing it. I'm tired of talking about it. But if we don't talk about it and we don't highlight and call out and push back against these bullshit narratives, people will just believe it. And they'll keep doing it. We have to push back. There is a point in time where you can no longer stick your head in the sand and just allow them to push this narrative. That's what's got us to this point. Is too many of y'all have sat back for too long because you just didn't want to deal with it. You just didn't want to be called a racist. You just didn't want to argue with them. And now the wolf is at our door. Now it's in Mississippi. We've been really good about keeping this on the outside looking in. Now it's inside. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to sit back and act like it doesn't affect you? We're back. I was just preaching to my online audience. At some point, y'all have to realize that these folks are no longer negotiating in good faith when it comes to these racially sensitive, highly charged situations where one of them get killed. and they have to figure out a way for it to be the fault of somebody else, us. You know, we've gone from Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter. And we're going to start highlighting them. Well, let me rephrase that. We're going to continue calling them out and highlighting them. As much as I would love to take this show in other directions that would cause me a lot less grief and make me a lot more money, not being as polarizing, that ain't what I'm here for. I'm here to call this out and shine sunlight into the darkest places of the internet and use it as a bleach and a disinfectant. And that is what we're going to continue to do. We're going to stand with Ocean Springs. We're going to stand with the Gulf Coast. And we're going to stand with those young men who the culture are calling racist murderers until given a reason not to. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 a.m. This has been the Clay Edwards Show.